Okay, Kristin, as I reported to you earlier after looking over some of your other writings, I really enjoy your writing. Okay, you're an excellent writer, so I don't need to look at this least bit like a writing instructor or anything like that. By the way, I want to assure you that I'm wearing my Duke t-shirt today, not on purpose. It's strictly by accident. I wear it all the time, actually, because it's comfortable, it's warm, it's another cold, gray day here out in North Manchester, Indiana. So I really enjoyed, I'm going to look at this as a reader, all right, and not as a writing instructor. And, you know, I enjoy the beginning. I enjoy your enthusiasm, you know, because I know you're in the pep band, okay? Don't forget the reader doesn't know you're in the pep band, and they don't need to know that, all right? And so one thing I do notice is you've got a lot of jargon here. You talk about Coach K Court. You know, this is probably aimed towards a more generic reader than just Duke students, okay? That, you know, if this is like a New Yorker piece or something like that, it's beyond the Duke realm a little bit. So Coach K Court probably doesn't have a lot of meaning. You don't want to bog the readers down in anything they have to wonder, well, what does that mean, okay? I do feel your enthusiasm for, you know, what's going on in the court, that kind of thing. I think, though, that spending 2 pages waiting till you get to the topic of your paper is a little dangerous for a reader, all right? I think you need to find a way to condense down this kind of setting the stage material, make it tighter, keep it colorful, but make it tighter, and to get through it quickly so the reader knows pretty quickly what this essay is going to be about. I think that's very important. So I say slim that down. I turned to page 2 and I pulled out that whole middle paragraph for you about the activity is one that requires agility. I'm not convinced that you need to go into that much detail, okay? Going on to page 3, be careful when you use people's titles. You don't want to get too much gobbledygook in there. To me, bass fellow means a person who fishes for bass, so I would kind of just drop that out of that. You know, as a reader, they're not all that concerned, okay? The middle of page 3, notice that paragraph is, you start off with his day job, and then you kind of segue into one of his current projects, being on-campus housing, okay? That's a slightly different topic. I would suggest keeping your paragraphs broken up, which you've really done a nice job of. Most of your paragraphs are really well focused and right on the money, okay? Going down to the bottom of page 3, I look at, you mentioned something about in an earlier interview. I don't think the reader needs to know that, okay? I don't care when the interview was. I want this to, you know, as a reader, I just want this to kind of read seamlessly and quickly, okay? Love your transition on page 4 to his current outfit. You know, you've kind of got this motif about outfits. You see him first on the basketball floor, and then he's got another outfit for this, another outfit for that. However, I get down to the bottom of page 4, and I think I suddenly see the meat of the article. You know, we had discussed this earlier, and I think I'd asked you what was unusual about this person, all right? And you said, well, his research is really interesting, okay? And so it's not just pure research, it's this songbird thing. So I think this songbird is much more interesting and much more important than good housing. I think you're looking at this as, you know, you're the writer and you're kind of, you know, bogged down in all the details, which is fine, and you're also a Duke student and you're bogged down in that. I think you want to get out of that a little bit, okay, and get into the reader's head, all right? And frankly, what the reader's going to find really interesting, I mean, the color about the basketball court is cool, great way to start, I'm not saying that, but I think this songbird thing is really neat, really unusual, all right? Here's a dean, this stuffy dean, and guess what he does? Songbirds. All right, and that ties very nicely into his musician type background, which you get into page 5 a little bit. All right, so I think his songbird and his musician thing is such a neat contrast to what he does as a dean and a biologist. I think that really needs to be up there near the top. You know, pretty much right after you're setting the stage with the basketball routine. All right. So I'm really impressed with the musician thing and the songbird thing, and I'd like to see more focus on that as a reader, all right? I'm not talking about as a writing instructor. Excellent writer. And so I'd like to see that up more at the top quite a bit more. I think the ending is going to be quite fine, you know, when you get it polished up a little bit, because you kind of end with a sports motif, kind of begin with a sports motif, set the stage, and then you end with a sports motif, his, you know, idea about surfing, you know, you're going to go out under the surfboard and on top, and that's cool, you know, and you end up, you know, he's tired all the time because he goes to all these basketball games, right? So, as I said earlier, you're an extremely articulate writer. I love the way you're using quotes. It really brings it to life, you know. But I think as a reader, I'd like a little bit less gobbledygook about just terms and things, a little less gobbledygook about the basketball court and that kind of stuff, and more about the songbird stuff right up near the beginning, okay? Put his teaching, you know, near the end. Put the housing thing near the end. I do like a lot of the way you talk about him kind of changing uniforms. That's cool. You know, you can go to a little bit, you know, what does he wear? You know, you might need to call him back an email. Hey, you know, when you go out birding, listen to songbirds, what do you wear? You know, so that's a cool motif that you're weaving all the way through. So I've really enjoyed this, and I hope I get to see another copy sometime. I don't quite know the final deadlines of these things, so you've been fun to work with, and I hope this has been helpful to you. And I think this is a great project, and I know it's going to be a great article. So, hey, I need to cut this off because YouTube doesn't like long videos. Bye now.